Well, it's unacceptable to be fat. When you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies. I think when fat people look at the mirror and they say, oh, I like that, that's coat, man. No, you don't. And I think we need to go back to shaming fat people. We need to go back to making fun of them. I mean, if I was president, hell, I'd put all of them in a fat concentration camp so they can concentrate on dieting and exercising.
You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're smallest compared to these other guys.
I mean, I'm not offended. It's fine. He's emotional.
It goes
in
every direction.
He's obviously very triggered. You can say whatever you want to say.
I do want to press.
I called you out on it, and I said,
I want to press pause.
And this is how fat people.
Man, was this a heated episode or what? Fat people versus fit people. This is a video by a channel called Jubilee, which often holds these controversial debates and brings on people that are often influencers to some degree to be part of these debates. The debates can be about a lot of different things, such as racial issues, religious issues, diet issues, and stuff like that. This particular one was on whether being fat is a choice or not, and they had fat people on one side of the debate and fit people on the other. Some people in this debate made a lot of sense, while others were just there to make outrageous statements and stir up controversy.
Oh, I'm sad now. I'm gonna continue eating ice cream. Okay, you're a fucking loser. Stay over there.
But it was a great video that allowed people to be able to understand both sides of the coin better. Now, I'm still far from ever being invited to one of these debates, so I'm gonna go through the video and share my 2 cents on the prompts and essentially give you my opinion on whether being fat is a choice or not. I won't be able to cover everything as the video is over an hour long, so I recommend you go and watch it yourself over at the Jubilee channel. Let's go.
I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body. Can our agreeers please step forward?
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat.
Okay, that's a great start. I mean, I know why you say that, but do you know why you're saying that?
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline, it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of temperance, and when you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
Unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, oh, because they're fat.
Boo-hoo, man. Like, there's way worse stuff going out in the world versus people saying, oh my God, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat some ice cream. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized, first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. It's ridiculous to me that we have all these fat people running around, meanwhile people are being bombed in Gaza. It's ridiculous.
Okay, of course Myron had to start this off by being a dick about it. He shows a lack of sympathy in this whole video, and I think it took away so much from anything he said, even if some of the things he said had some sense to them. So basically, to summarize here, the people who agreed to this prompt had the idea that being fat is unacceptable and they don't understand how people let themselves get to those levels, and also that they can't control how they feel. If it's disgust they feel, then that's what they're feeling.
Let's bring in the disagreeers and hear from them.
I think I'm kind of an empath, so when I see somebody, I know that there's things underlying, and one of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. And just seeing how hard he tries and then reverts, it's almost more tough for me than to be like, oh, that's disgusting, you know? And I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that. So like, I know what it feels like on the other side to like look the way I do and get people look at me like, ugh, that's gross.
The other side was more sensitive and empathetic, claiming that they wouldn't feel disgust towards someone just because they are overweight, when they don't know that person or their struggles which led to them being fat. They also said that disgust would be a wrong word to use, but they rather felt concerned instead. I personally had to look up what disgust actually means, because in my head, disgust is a feeling I get when I'm grossed out by something. It's usually something that is very displeasing to my senses, particularly sight, smell, or touch. So for me to say that I've been disgusted commented by a fat person, it would mean I have been displeased with how they look, smell, or feel. This is the definition of disgust that I was given by ChatGPT. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to read it. But in this case, the prompt is talking about disgust in the context of simply looking at a person being extremely displeasing to the eye. It's very hard for me to share my honest opinion on social media like this, but I would have to say, yes, I have been disgusted looking at a fat body. Like Greg Doucette said,
I don't think we can help how we feel. I don't think I can choose like, oh, I just am not. It would be sitting here and lying. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I'm always going to be honest with people. I'm disgusted. This is just how I feel.
I've mostly felt that way looking at extremely obese people, like some of the people on that TLC show. I think it's called My 500-Pound Life or something like that, I'm not sure. I believe what makes the difference is how you act on that disgust. Are you going to bring the person down because of it, or are you going to be logical and human and actually treat that person with respect just like you would with any other person? I personally think the guys who disagreed with the prompt were taking it out of context, talking about not knowing what the person has been through and all that, which I get, but the prompt was talking about feeling disgust at face value. But of course, people are different and maybe they don't feel disgust just by looking at things. It's possible.
Jacked men are more attractive than fat men. Will the agreeers please step forward?
Like, how is it possible that they're thinking, no, being obese and unhealthy is more attractive than being fit and healthy? How is this possible? There might be 1% of the world that there's something wrong with them that might think that, yeah, you're 600 pounds, it's so hot, I love that, but.
The hot girls that you actually want, they exercise their hypergamy to the highest degree, and they want guys that are fit and have their money together, have their life together.
I have an interesting point. And no shade on you, but if you put Zach and Greg and you put them next to each other and you did a poll, I think that most women would probably pick him if you had to, like, because he's got the height and all that. What would you guys say to that?
Obviously, height is a big component. So that you know, so it's not you're comparing apples to oranges. But if you take the same guy, same height, etc., but one guy is fat, one guy's in good shape, she's always going to go with the guy that's in better shape.
I disagreed mostly just with the blanket statement because attraction is so subjective. People have a much wider range of what they find attractive than specifically a body type.
I was in the same boat as you just because I feel like I don't agree with the blanket statement. Personally, for myself as a gay man, I find myself attractive. I would say like I go for guys like you as well, and I feel like I get a lot of hits on those types of guys, and I'm pretty content with how I navigate my attraction, and I think it goes a lot to the status and their confidence. So. Like we said, so.
Okay, so the first thing that was a point of debate here was the question, what does attraction entail? One side of the debate mostly focused on physical attraction, with the other being of the idea that attraction goes beyond the physical, and you can be attracted to a person's aura, their confidence, their character, and stuff like that. So them being jacked or fat may have very little to do with how attractive they are. Two guys even went on to define attraction as finding themselves attractive, which, to be honest, I find to just be a way of hyping themselves up, even if they are not attractive. I think it's just a form of positivity and a self-confidence booster. The way I see it, attraction can only be judged by other people. So for you to be considered attractive, you need to tick the boxes of the traits that society deems to be characteristic of attractive people. The question of jacked men being more attractive than fit men or vice versa is hard to answer for me because there are different levels to either side. For example, Simeon Panda is a jacked guy, but someone like Samson Dauda is even more jacked. On the other hand, Zach here is technically fat, and so is someone who is maybe 700 pounds. So the level to which you are fat or fit determines whether you are more attractive or not. Again, there is more that goes into being attractive, such as your hair, your face, your height. That's on the physical side only. So if you're jacked but short and bald, you're not going to be more attractive than a fat guy, a mildly fat guy that is, with nice hair and is 6'3" and is very good looking. I'd say jacked men are not more attractive than fat men, or vice versa. It just depends on a lot of variables.
The body positivity movement is problematic. Will the agreeers step forward?
Well, I think where it becomes a problem is obviously you should be comfortable in your body, and if you genuinely love how you look, great, but you can't ignore your health. The body positivity movement becomes a problem when you hide behind this shield of, oh, I should love my body, Great, but you have to be healthy too. You can't ignore your vitals. You gotta like check yourself on the inside.
There's a plus size person who's too embarrassed to go to the gym, because they feel like they're gonna be judged, whatever it is. But it's because of body positivity, they're like, oh, hey, like I see other plus size people in the gym, maybe I'm gonna give it a try. And all of a sudden they start going, they're like, oh man, I like this, right? And then they keep it going. You can argue that without body positivity, maybe that day would have never happened for that person, right? But I think the problematic part really comes down to people extrapolating body positivity, shaming a celebrity like, let's say Adele, for losing weight, right? That's where I would kind of draw the line there.
All right, let's bring in our disagreeers.
To me, body positivity is more about bodily autonomy. Body positivity kind of comes in and go, okay, you as a human being have inherent value. Just in the fact that you are a conscious soul on this planet, you have an inherent value. You are within a vessel of your body that you do have control over, but at the same time, you're not less valuable to society or from the standpoint of the soul for what your body looks like.
So on this one, we had the majority of people agreeing that body positivity is problematic. They thought that it wasn't problematic by definition, but is being taken out of context, and people are actually promoting being fat as something that is perfectly fine and no one should aim to lose weight. The other camp that disagrees basically thinks that body positivity is about letting people know that they are valuable regardless of how their body looks, which is actually what body positivity should be. The way I see it, body positivity has been made to seem like a movement to encourage fat people to love their bodies, and by doing so, not care to make any healthy changes because they are fine the way they are. From a health perspective, they are clearly not fine, and body positivity sort of takes away that reality. One guy mentioned that he loves his body the way it is, even if he is overweight. While that is a great thing, I do have a perspective to consider. Let's look at love in the context of romantic love. When you love someone, what do? Usually you pay attention to them, you cater to their needs, you do everything you can to make their life better. You show them you love them by doing things that support their development. Saying you love someone when you're always ignoring them, never doing anything to help them, and you're always hurting them kinda shows that you don't really love them. In a similar fashion, when you love your body, it should show by how you treat your body. Keeping a healthy weight, maintaining good mobility, basically optimizing the health of your body. It's hard to claim that you love your body when you neglect it and leave it to become overweight. Now, if you decide to lose weight, now you're actually showing that you are beginning to love your body more. So the body positivity movement is something that I believe was well intended, but it was taken so far out of context that it has become problematic. That's not to say that it hasn't helped people though. It's just spoiled by people who twist it to support their unhealthy habits.
Fitness culture can be toxic. Agreeers, step forward.
I think that right now it's like there's a lot of misinformation online when it comes to like how to get fit, how to stay in shape, and a lot of people are monetizing it. These like crazy fad diets, like you can't eat certain things, carbs are bad, fruit has sugar in it, so it's gonna make you fat. So like now food is almost being weaponized, and then to be monetized so that you buy their ebook to tell you the exact secret, code in order to lose weight. So fitness is an industry, right? So people are incentivized to say whatever that is to make money. And so it's been harder for me as a coach that takes a more holistic approach to wellness and fitness and saying, hey, it's all about balance. And like Greg's the same way. I know I felt like, I watch a lot of his videos. That is the correct approach to like making a plan that's not super restrictive. So I think that's why, the fitness industry, even being part of it, like is frustrating because there's so much misinformation.
I would say also that there's so much pressure to look like us, and it's causing people to develop body dysmorphia. And so this is a huge problem. So when you swipe on Instagram, you're being shown the top 1% of the top 1%. They all have a six-pack abdominals. Everyone feels inferior. There's pressure. Then that causes a whole host of problems, eating disorders, people feeling like shit. They don't like the way they look in the mirror. And then they keep looking for information. And then what information they're getting, half of it's wrong, like you were just describing. And so where do we go from there? There's no solution.
Okay, so everyone pretty much agreed to this one, and I also agree. Fitness culture can be really toxic. The biggest toxic trait that I see has to do with the promotion of unrealistic body standards and also the spread of misinformation. There are so many fad diets out there that are made to seem like they are the key to achieving these unrealistic bodies, and it often creates problems like eating disorders for some people. Body dysmorphia is also another thing that can result from these standards. One thing I'd like to comment on though is the question, is shame a good motivator for someone to lose weight?
Does anyone here respond positively to shame?
No.
I think in some ways, I feel like a lot of us can relate to this. Like when we were younger, if I wouldn't say it was shame, but I wasn't necessarily like happy with the way I look, and that kind of motivated me to get into fitness in the first place, right? And we're talking, this was like in high school, so I think to some degree, shame that's not put on by others could be helpful, right? It has to be something within yourself that can motivate you.
I'll speak on the shame thing too, because the shame that I guess embodied came from myself. So when I was on my weight loss journey and I was like losing weight, the day that I weigh in and it was like the scale read 1 pound over, like I would take those pills that make you shit, literally, to like lose that extra pound to see. Like, so going back to the toxic situation, that's where I got fucked up, because I would do things in response to me not getting that positive stimulus to hurt myself ultimately.
I think shame is good. I think it's a very natural response to inadequacy, and it tells people that, hey, maybe I need to change. Like being bullied as a man, being shamed, it's a good thing because it stimulates you to change and make a better difference most of the time.
But some people don't respond. Like some people, when they get shamed, they get shut down, and now they proceed further into that negative, behavior.
This was a point of debate in this video, with one side saying that shame is bad and the other saying shame is good. I personally think that shame is hardly ever a good motivator to do anything, because shame entails being looked down upon and is inhumane to an extent. That can either cause a person to become defensive or shut down entirely. In some cases, it can motivate someone to do better, but that motivation seldom comes from a good place. If I'm gonna get someone to lose weight, I want that motivation to come from a good place, a place of self-love, not a place of hating yourself. Shame coming from oneself can be good, yes, like the other guy said, but shame from other people is just not a good way to get someone to lose weight, and it's likely going to lead to unhealthy behaviors, like making yourself throw up just so you don't absorb the calories.
I would not like to be on the other side. If that's true for you, come forward.
When I was in high school, they do your graduation photos, and they had a saying, and my saying was, my worst nightmare would be if I gained 10 pounds of fat. Literally, grade 12, I remember it clear as day. I was already a competitive bodybuilder, and so to imagine being 100 or 200 pounds overweight when I strived my whole life to look kind of like this, I just couldn't imagine it. It would be a nightmare for me.
I agree. From like a health perspective, like being overweight or obese like puts you at a higher risk of developing chronic illnesses, and I think I wouldn't want to be in that position. And if I was in that position, I would do what I can in order to get to a healthier weight.
Let's bring in our disagreeers.
Yeah, I absolutely chose to, if I could, I'd switch. So when I was my lightest weight, which was 273, I wasn't anywhere near you guys, but I had muscles, I felt really good about myself. And now that I've fallen back, I literally like almost hate life, because I got somewhere, got really close, and it was out of reach. And now I'm falling back and I gotta fight again.
I mean, yeah, it's completely unacceptable to be fat as a man, it's completely unacceptable. It's just so many problems with it. But the reality is we live in this crazy world where we coddle fat people, we coddle idiots, we coddle morons, and we don't hold anybody accountable, and we allow mediocrity to strive in the West. And I think we need to go back to shaming fat people. We need to go back to making fun of them. I mean, if I was president, hell, I'd put all of them in a fat concentration camp so they can concentrate on dieting and exercising, because being fat is completely not acceptable. I'd have these people back in shape, because what people don't also understand is that fat people bring a big burden on the healthcare system. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, etc. It's a big problem.
Do you really mean that, or are you just saying that?
I'm dead ass. Yeah, if I was president, make me president, I would get rid of the obesity problem like that.
Myron. Bro was giving Adolf Hitler vibes on this one. I'm pretty sure this dude only says this stuff for views. There's no way he actually thinks like this, because that would be truly disgusting. But let's ignore him for a second and focus on opinions that I feel actually mattered. So basically, all the jacked guys agreed that they wouldn't want to be fat, and all the fat guys said that they would want to be on the jacked side. This one guy actually chose to not be jacked, but this was only because he wouldn't want to be on the extreme side, and he wouldn't want to do it if it meant taking steroids. He'd rather look more like Tyler, of which Tyler technically isn't jacked. I watch a lot of his YouTube shorts, and he's like 61 to 64 kgs and maybe 5'5" to 5'6", so that means he's smaller than I am by about 5 to 7 kgs, if we only count muscle mass. And if I were to choose, I'd probably rather look like Tyler as compared to all the other guys, because I've never cared to be very muscular myself. I prefer more of a lean, natural, and athletic looking body.
The next prompt is, your physique is in your control. Can the agreeers please step forward?
I think one thing we haven't mentioned is accountability. I think that's the biggest thing. When I was growing up, my weight was always blamed on someone else. I was like, oh, it's my parents feeding me too much. And it's like, you can close your mouth. Like, I don't have to eat, you know? But when I finally made that change in my head, I realized that where you're at, given like the ideal circumstances, it is your choice. I am where I'm at now because I made a series of wrong choices and didn't handle myself correctly.
Has anyone here ever felt like they didn't have control over their body or their physique?
There's times where I felt like I didn't have the control I wanted, but there was never a point where I'm like, this isn't within my ability to do.
Yeah, I think we all go through stages, especially mental health.
You wish it was easier sometimes, but other than that, it's like, no, of course I'm in control of it. I know I am.
Again, everyone agreed on this, and so do I. How your body looks is in your control, except for stuff that you have no control over, of course, like bone structure, height, skin color, and stuff like that. Genetic stuff, basically. People who think that how your body looks is not in your control are usually people who like to play victim and not own up and take control of their lives. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm attacking anyone here. Believe me, that is not my intention. It's just something that I have to say. It's a lot easier to blame other people for your body being the way it is than to own up and actually make the necessary changes that will get you where you want to be. At times, there's actually other people that played a major role in you being fat. Maybe your parents overfed you as a child, or maybe you are genetically predisposed to hold on to more fat and burn less energy. These things can happen, but at the end of the day, everyone loses or gains weight using the same principles. Calories in, calories out. It may be harder for some people to change their bodies than it is for others, but it's still possible nonetheless. So to answer the question, is obesity a choice? The short answer to that is yes, being fat is a choice. But providing such a simple answer like this does not do justice to the topic. There's a lot that needs to be explained and contexts that need to be explored, and I'm gonna do that in my video 2 weeks after now. I'll link the video somewhere on the top right corner of this one, so be sure to check it out. Tell me what you think about this whole debate, and also tell me in the comment section down below whether you agree with my opinions or you disagree. Obviously, I'm not right about everything, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and maybe get corrected. That way, we can both learn from this video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I'll see you on the next video, and remember to stay natural.